1, 2, 3. Mhm. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sunnah Rahim here, special covenant, breaker 7 seals. Hey, brothers, I have a special presentation today, and I've talked about this before, so I think I need to reiterate. First, fear, fear is coming to America. Great fear, great fear. Let me check my sound here, because they keep changing my sound. I don't know what happens. Hold on. So I have a special presentation on it. Okay. So far, so good. But anyway, great fear is approaching. Hypersonic speeds. Unimaginable fear, brothers and sisters. Some of you are going to be caught up in it. The shock of it will generate great fear. Great fear. Okay. But it's coming. We're here soon. What does the scripture say about it? Men's hearts failing them for fear, but looking after those things which coming on the earth, the powers of heaven should be shaken. Great fear. That's in anticipation. Heart attacks, strokes, seizures. Just in anticipation of what you think would be like once what they're anticipating actually arrives. We see Mr. Trumpet. He's all over the place. He's going to save America, make America great again, all this stuff. He's not going to do a goddamn thing, but he's the only hope. He's telling you, if he's saying to make America great again, that means it's not great now. Well, it isn't. In fact, America is powerless, a toothless, clawless tiger, growling, with no power. They're about to find out in a minute. Counterfeit power. The power ran out in 2020. Phantom power. A momentum. Well, I'm not going to take a lot of time to try to go into a lot of, because I don't think at this point in time most people are not paying attention anyway. I'm getting information out there, constantly getting information out there, because it's part of bringing a new reality. I'm going to explain that in a minute. But right here, what is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise. How do you destroy the wisdom of the wise? What wisdom is that? Okay. There's all types of wisdom. There's winter wisdom. There's spring wisdom. That's why you have these signs and scripture talking about these signs and seasons. Because seasons have acquired different wisdom. The wisdom of the winter is no good in spring. So that means there's going to be a change in seasons. That made this happen. In a season where that wisdom would be no value, it's totally destroyed. There'd be no value whatsoever. That's what it's saying there. It's not going to your mind and say, okay, you're not wise anymore. It's telling you. But like I said, if you don't understand, how people will understand it, hopefully in a minute. But if you don't understand it, that's why you have to lay the foundation. Once you lay the foundation, you can build on it. But if you don't have a foundation, and it's always like somebody got Alzheimer's, right? They can watch the movie over and over again. They can enjoy it over and over again because they never thought they saw it before. See? If you don't have a background, then it's hard to explain these things to you because you don't understand the underlying background. Like I said, the angel is the new reality is coming in. In the background, the foundation of it is basically pressure and force. You have to understand that's the mathematical. It says it's a mathematical book. You have to understand the principle, the foundation of it to make sense of it. Otherwise, you're looking at something and you can't connect the dots. You can't put it together because you don't understand the foundation that's built on. Once you understand the foundation is built on, then you can start understanding what's going on there. And no one understands the foundation it's built on. That's why they can't figure it out. They understand it. You have to understand. That's why I give you the math of it. You know, when I first came in contact with the angel, I mean, as far as breaking the seals, because I mean, I came in contact with angel when I was about 6 years old, 5, 6, somewhere or so. Because I remember I was living in Waverly Avenue, Newark. My mother was still alive at the time, right? We lived in a flat that I don't know if they still make those, but straight through from one room to the next room, right? And we had like a firewood stove in my room, right? And I remember sitting on the floor and reading the Bible and reading Revelations, and it scared me. I was reading it, and demons, and I mean not demons, but dragons and stuff like that, right there. And that's the first time I remember having any contact with that. I looked at it. I was about 7 years old. I looked at it. And I don't know, I'm not sure if it scared me, but I know it had an effect on me. I looked at it, and I don't recall ever looking at it anymore until the time when 1990, because even when I was with Elijah, I never studied Revelations because Elijah talked to, I had to listen to him. I didn't think that book had anything to do with me. I just listened to what Elijah said. And I scared I did how I ended up getting into the angel. See? And so I felt like I was tricked into it, right? I was just like solving puzzles. That was always in my interest, right? And like I was into the Bible. When I was in the military, I got into it. I hadn't got to Revelations yet. I hadn't got there, right? Because when I got to Malachi, I was looking for Elijah. And that was something maybe I should talk about it right now. And see, without having any parents, I said, I need to have some kind of guidance. I was going up by the time I was 14, my mother was going, I was 9. So I didn't have anybody. Me and my little sister, right? I didn't know anything. We was the dumbest two people on the planet because didn't know anything about food, didn't know anything because I taught us anything, we didn't know anything. And my father was going, nobody, So I said, I need something. I started looking into the Bible. I said, well, and I would take and whatever it said do, I did it. When I said do, I did. So I stopped eating pork and all that stuff before I knew anything about Elijah. I remember in the army, people, well, what's wrong with that stuff, right? But it said, and that's how I went searching for Elijah. When I got to Malachi, I said, hey, this person must exist now. My position was, is if whatever when I, in other words, when I look at something, I always say I'm going to do the right thing no matter what consequences are. I'm going to do the right thing that I consider, that I can figure out what's the right thing. I got to explain that a little deeper in a minute. So when I saw that, I had a lot invested in the military. I've been in the military about 4 years. I had a lot invested. I was a sergeant at the time, and a lot invested. I was in Vietnam. I did my second tour over here. And I saw that. I gave it all up and looked for Elijah. Because that's the frame. That was my... Because I had to understand, like, to me, if I was going to go through life, I figured once I determine something's right, just do it, no matter what. I wasn't going to lie to myself. I was just going to. I just made up my mind I was going to do that, so that's what I did. I put myself at risk. I could have went to. They'd have caught me. I'd end up in Denver for 4 or 5 years or whatever, and I walked away, and so forth, and everything, right? I made kind of decisions like that, so that's another story altogether. I put myself at risk. I exposed. I'm looking for Elijah. Didn't know anything about Elijah Muhammad. Know anything. Now I knew something about Ali because I remember I read a book. There was a book that I ran across when I was in the Army. It wasn't in the library. It was something had. I was looking at it, and I remember you talking about some other plane or something, but I didn't know anything about Elijah, Malcolm X, and stuff. I just knew. I remember reading that book. I guess he was popular or something, because I didn't know what he was. But I remember it was a book about Ali, and it was something about the mother plane or something, right? And that's all I remember about that. And I was in Vietnam at the time. And I'm going to look for Elijah, and that's a long story. But anyway, what I did is I went because I said I was going to use the Bible as my guide. And when it says Elijah, I said, well, that sounds like, based on what I'm looking at, that sounds like, and based on the visions I had when I was a child, right? I knew something was going to happen. I said, that must, at the time, anyway, I went to find them, right? Let's get back. I'm gonna follow up on that in a minute. But see, the thing is when the change in seasons, see, in the old season, that's what's happening. It means a change is about this. The change will happen, and so their change, that old wisdom will not work anymore. So those people that have that old wisdom, right, it will be just worthless. And the understanding of prudent. So these people, right, they were saying, when this happens, there's going to be a people here that's not going to make the adjustment. That's why I destroy it. And that's why if I was up saying, bring to nothing to understand the prudent. Because if it was that, if it wasn't that in the case, it would just be, they'd make an adjustment to the new season. But saying these are one season people, and when that season's over, they're finished. That's a little subtle, but that's what they're saying there. Okay. Let's just move on here, because I got a lot to say. But I can't put the graphics like I want to, because this is complicated, and I couldn't think any graphics that really help. And then maybe it's at this point in time, maybe a waste of time to do it anyway. You see, so what's that talking about? That means, if we understand that means that everything these people are going to do is fail because they're one season people, and all the wisdom they have is winter wisdom, and it's going to fail because we're moving to the spring. So it's saying he's going to fail dramatically. Nothing he does is going to work. All is going to backfire. Everything he does will backfire. That's what it's telling you. So you want to pay attention to him. Everything he says will be destroyed. Because what he's doing won't work. That's what it's telling you. What he's doing will not work. I want you to put this in perspective. What he's doing will not work. I say I will destroy the wisdom. So What he's doing will not work. He'll destroy it. So all this stuff, he'll make America great. He's going to take power. Everything he does, so anything he says, it's not going to work. None he says so far has worked. Hamas, I'm going to nothing. They ignored him. Zelensky ignored him from Ukraine. And Iran says, I'm not going to make any negotiations with you. So forth, so on. They have this mental wisdom. That's what it's telling you. Everything he does will fail, and those with him. It's backing him up and everything. The prudent, right? Let's look this up real quick. Make sure we're everybody on the same page here. People may not understand what prudent means. Everybody on the same page here. I know what it means, but maybe. I got this new phone. I hate it. These devils, boy, they can mess up everything. Acting with or showing care and thought for the future. Acting with or showing care for the future. Okay. So was it planning with the future in mind? If you use that definition. Okay. Well, that's what he said, make America great again, so that's like future thing, right? It's going to fail. I'm not going to fail dramatically. And if it backfires, it's even worse than failing, right? Because then it comes back and hits you. If you throw a punch and it miss, fail. But if it come back and hit you, the backfire, it's even worse. Everything he does fail. Keep that in mind. That's what it's telling you. Self-preservation, energy, pressure, mind, self-preservation is the first law of nature. Let's start that first. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Now, this is going to affect your thinking. See, the angel mind, the new way of thinking, Elijah Muhammad, he said, you begin a new way of thinking. Well, because you got a new way of thinking in you. Let me check something. We'll make sure I got this in order. Yeah, okay. Self-preservation is first law of nature. So every living thing has this preservation. Pain tells you, hey, you're in danger somehow. Self-preservation. See? But that's why you want to start thinking mathematically, because most people think, hey, man, just take care of myself. But you have to understand the creation and make sense of that. Because if a heart cell thinks that way, it doesn't realize it's part of the whole body, it's going to ignore the body and it's going to destroy it. It's going to ignore the rest of the body to save itself. And the whole body will die because it needs a heart cell. That's why I explain. You need to understand the creation, how to think. You need to understand the mathematics behind it. You understand the creation itself. Otherwise, none of this stuff will make any sense. And no one is doing that. They're only hurting themselves. You have to understand underlying math. I told you the general math is vectors, forces, pressure. That's what vectors are, just a mathematical representation of forces. And pressure is just force too. Force is the bottom line. Every action, force is action. Every action has opposite reaction. I said, it all comes together because all that is the most fundamental principle of the universe. And that's consequence. It all comes back to the same thing. It's all talking about the same thing, just different ways. Consequence. Every action has opposite equal reaction. Action is force. pressure is just force spread out. That's a mathematical representation of force. You have to understand the force is driving this, and when a pressure system, because the universe is not linear, it's spatial, so it's pressure, which is just, you take space, you take force and divide it by space, and what's this? And that's pressure. Hold on, get some kind of message here. Anyway, you understand that? You're never going to understand the angel. Like, when I first, so that's, okay, let me just mention that a little bit, right? When I first came in contact with angel, like I said, I'm not going into details how I got involved, but that mindset I had about doing the right thing no matter what, see, that is what gave me the key to get into the angel. Look, you go to the gym, you first time you go to the gym, you ain't strong yet. You got to get in there. You got to get into it. You get into it, then you start. It's like gold mine. You find the gold mine, then you start digging for the gold. You go in there first, and and okay, now you start working out. So I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea what was in there. No idea whatsoever. I was curious. See, what is this? I had no idea. None. Zero. But that mindset allowed me to get into it. Because breaking the seals, right? That's just getting in the door, unlocking it. And that mindset, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to put this together for you. But see, the point is you had to have that mindset to do that. It says only a pure heart will see God. Right? And so my mind was not corrupted. And I'm going to try to explain that in a minute. And so that allowed me to get in the door. And then once I got in the door, then what's in there? Then when I got in the door, right, I found that, things was kind of mixed up in there. And I get the idea about, I met this Jehovah's Witness, he gave me a translator and all that kind of stuff, right? And that opened the door because that was confusing. Because I had no idea. I had no idea about any key or anything. No, breaking the seals doesn't give you the key. It just gets you in. It's that five, you get 5 seals. They broke the first seal, right? Let's get you in. So when I got to, what was that chapter? Chapter? When I got there, I talked about, the woman and the stars upon her head, the moon on the sea. Well, I thought that was the earth, because that made sense. So, moon on the feet and the stars above her head. I thought it was Earth. I had no idea what that wasn't Earth, but it's because I'm saying I had no idea what to find there. No idea whatsoever. So I had to it was a hard fight, literally mental fight, like going to the gym. Because this was like going to a super heavyweight gym, right? You go there and everybody's a Hulk up in there. Here you 100-pound weakling, and you got to get up to that standard. And I'm going, I had no idea. See, Elijah Muhammad He didn't give you a new mind. He just strengthened your nature. He tried to bring you back to your nature. I'm black. I'm so black and I'm proud. He built your nature up. He strengthened your nature. He didn't give you a new mind because he still teaching for the sealed Bible. He had the lessons too, but he strengthened your nature. So because remember, our nature was suppressed. And so he was strengthening your nature. See? And that's part of getting into the angel too. You had to have that. You had to have the nature back. Know who you had some idea, because some of us was forsaken our nature. Like a lion. I mean, he's a tame lion. He's acting against his nature. Not against his mind, he's acting against his nature. Because he got to act this way, and that's not the way a lion acts. So a lot of times he gets back acting according to our nature. We didn't even know how to act according to our nature. We had a nature, but they kept telling us this was our nature. I mean, our mind was a conflict between our mind and our nature. And the mind was overcoming, was winning. That mind he gave us. So I'm in there, and like I said, I had no idea what this meant. I had no idea that somebody had to break the seal. I didn't even care about anybody breaking the seal. I just thought Elijah Muhammad knew what Revelation was all about. He talked about it. Didn't idea what is in there. At first I said and I got a little transliteral, and then they talking about pale horse, and that didn't make any sense. I couldn't make any sense of that until I got the transliteral, and then started digging. And some of the things I'm telling you right now, it took me years to figure out because I had to cut. And then on top of that, you have to have some understanding about the world. You have to understand about mathematics, about physics. You have to understand about pressure. And at that time, I didn't understand pressure. That helped me. I didn't know that was going to be a help because I understood pressure and how it worked. Because I said I was a scientist. I studied pressure. I knew about vectors. I knew that stuff, calculus. And the idea was that this had anything to do with that. That was a mathematical book. Those things helped me. Right? And a lot of things, I mean, like one thing in there, it says, he receives nourishment from the face of the serpent. Well, that took me for like 2 or 3 years. That took me for 2 or 3 years. I mean, constant study. It was not easy. Because they had the book of 2,000 years and they couldn't touch it. Nobody but him in my head said, oh God, no. It was intense study. I'm even studying now. Like I said, there's lots of parts of the Bible that I haven't got to yet. I said, well, I got to stop doing this, get this information out. So I've been lately, going in, looking at other verses, and breaking them down. The point is, right? It's like going to the gym. So, because you go there every time you keep, right? Elevating your, make you mentally stronger. Right? Because remember, it's a process of getting my mind. Because the injury is your mind, but you keep, the more you get, the more developed your mind becomes. Because remember, I'm going here with a sealed Bible mind. With upgraded nature from Elijah, I'm still going to sealed Bible mind. So then I start, right? Going 100-pound weekly, and I start building muscle. So finally, I can lift that weight. I can lift that 500 pounds. See? It took me, I don't know how long it took me, a year or so before I realized there was a key in there. And then there was another key that backed that key up. It took me a long time I didn't know there was a key in there. I had no idea. I wouldn't look for a key. It doesn't mention a key in the INJIL anyway. It doesn't say there's a key. I had to figure that one out from scratch. Without anybody help me, any assistance, anything. See? So now you have a trainer, personal trainer that knows this stuff, that's willing to teach you, and you ain't interested. No one's interested. They claim they're not interested. Because if they were, you'll see some results. You don't see any results. There's nothing like results to prove what you're doing. Action speaks louder than words. Yak, but no, don't see any results. Zero. With no results, that means there's no effort. You can say whatever you want to say. If no result, no effort. I cut that tree down. No results, no effort. This, what I'm doing, is a result of extreme great effort. Like I said, when I did this, I still had small children. I still had to take care. I had responsibilities. But no one can get up and say, hey, man, no. Unless you was handicapped and comatose or something. I had family. I lost everything as a process doing this. Right? But did I? I'm moving from the winter into the spring. And if you say it's a mental war, INJIL is the most powerful weight on the planet that whoever gets that is winning that war. They're the wisest person on the planet, the most powerful person on the planet. If you're saying it's mine, my war. Let me move on, brothers and sisters. Anyway, like I said, it was a struggle. It was a struggle all the way. It was like I said, knock down, drag out. Sink or swim. Let's talk about, again, let's get self-preservation here. Now, self-preservation, so you understand these principles. That's why people all messed up, because they don't know the sealed Bible mind. They're familiar with that. It's against them. But spring is coming in, this whole new reality. Then when everything is dead, trees dead, everything else, right? Everything comes alive. It's a whole different world. Everything comes alive. Plants are growing. Birds are flying. It's a whole new thing. It's different. Somewhere everything is dead. Snowmen or whatever. But so every organism wants to protect itself. That's where it defends itself to stay alive. That's the law of nature. First law of nature. I tell you these principles, like I talk about the fulcrum, the justice change, because you was thinking justice is, that's not where the universe works. So with self-preservation, we understand that principle. I've talked about it. I'm going to talk about it a little more than I've talked about it before, because sometimes, like I said, people tell me I stop assuming stuff. Who am I talking to? Hold on a second, I'll turn this off here. Give me a second. See, brothers and sisters, I'm saying a lot of things, and it says, remember, say a lot of things that, right, that controversial. It's not really controversial, but people say it's controversial. But when you add it up, it makes sense. Because this world's not about thinking. Angels weren't thinking. It was Adam was thinking, and he's using his thoughts to deceive you. I'd say something like, well, doing for the last 500 years, the Christians were the Muslims. Well, how can the Christians be the Muslims? Okay? Well, you understand the angel, understand Scripture. I try to explain how Scriptures work. You put these things together, you say, well, they were. They was one in submission to Allah. And you say, if you say the definition of Muslim is someone who's in submission to Allah, they were in submission. And the jinn who claim they're Muslim, they were not in submission. And you never heard anything like that before. But when you think about it, if you are thinking, well, that's right. That turns everything upside down. Because all this stuff it will shock you. It will shock your whole. Because why? Because the pressure waves from the angel are so powerful. It's overcoming this. Because it destroys your lack of thinking, or your misinformed thinking. I said, well, that changes. If you're a Muslim, you understand that. You say, oh, wow. If you're a Christian, you understand, wow. I mean, what impact they have on the rest of your thoughts? What impact they have on the rest of your thoughts? Because remember, it has a ripple effect. If that thought is right, then that's up to a premise. I'm going to move on, brothers and sisters, like I said. I really can't talk to you like I want to, because most of you, it's still 1 + 1 = 2. Right? So, when you have self-preservation, first law of nature, what does that mean? Okay, let's look at some simple concepts here, right? If you tell someone something that's against yourself, that goes against that law. Anything you tell someone that's against yourself goes against that law. That's a law. That's fundamental. So if you do it intentionally, that's a lie, isn't it? Isn't it? See, your basic truth is what, no. That's what basic truth is. It's based on that law. That's how you determine what's truth or not. Now, if you do it, if you tell someone something that's, well, see, that's why I use the word truth. This language is so messed up. If you tell someone something against yourself, right, and intentionally, that's a whole different subject altogether. Let's try to do some examples here. See, I mentioned this earlier, maybe a year or so ago. I said sin is when you do something against yourself. Sin is. Intentionally. Unintentionally is not a sin. Intentionally is a sin. Like the man in Mark, he was doing it against himself. He was hurting himself. He did it unintentionally because somebody gave him a bad information, bad mind. So if you're doing something against you, so in other words, if you're out there saying things, whatever you're saying, the truth is if you're saying things that's helping protect yourself. That's the truth. So to cut to the chase right here, when these devils out here in media lying their behind off, and do it intentionally, they will be doing it because the winter's over. Winter's coming to a close. They try and preserve themselves. They're going to lie everything else, whatever they can, to try to hold on to preserve themselves, protect themselves. They're not lying because they're obeying the first law of nature. Because they're going to say, oh, yeah, well, we evil, we wicked, and we know deserve to die. They ain't going to do that. That goes against the first law of nature. So this propaganda stuff, that's the truth. For them. Now, if you believe it and you know who they are, then you're lying. Because you know the enemy, but you're not accepting them as your enemy. You know the enemy, like Ishmael, hey, we all know. It's a whole way of looking at it, a whole different way of looking at it. Because they're out there, they're trying to protect them. They're doing whatever they can, and the worse it gets for them, the more they're going to lie, propaganda, everything. They're going to do anything they can. Like when you get against the wall, you fight, you kick, you try to stay alive. Is that wrong? You know, when you're out in the military and you're out there and you're on a battlefield, right? And you fight an enemy, you kill them, right? But they don't call it murder, do they? They don't call it murder. You kill somebody. When they call it murder? When you're hurting somebody, a part of your family, part of some part of you, your nation, whatever, even suicide. They don't call it murder if you are, you see what I'm saying? It still kills somebody, ain't it? Because if you go out there and you try to preserve yourself, preserve your family, preserve your body, because remember, we're one body, not them. So if you go out here and you're doing things that's hurting yourself or hurting your body, that's the part that you got to pay attention to. Then you are lying. You're a liar. Because you're going against the first law of nature. If you do it intentionally, you're doing it intentionally. So here is your brother, your sister, and you telling them something that's not correct. You're a liar. Doing it intentionally. You're a liar. Because you're hurting because they're part of your body. So I tell my heart, gives my lung bad information. You're hurting the body. But you understand you're part of the body. Someone come and tell me something they know is not true, then they're a liar. Because if they're part of my body, they're part of my nation. But if I go out and deceive tell my enemies stuff that's not true, right? I'm not lying. That's why I tell people, I say, I lie to my enemy every 24, that make me lie, I lie to my enemy 24/7. Because that's the truth. You want to tell the enemy how to hurt you? That disobeys the first law of nature. They just got the consequence when you break it all down, right? Mm-hmm. First law of nature. All life that has that law. No life just like, oh, God, going to kill me. Lion would try to protect itself with lamb, everything. First law of nature. So if you disobey that, then you're a liar. So when these devils out here telling these lies stuff intentionally, they're telling the truth because they're trying to preserve themselves. That's what truth is. And they're supposed to lie to us. They're supposed to deceive us because we're the enemy. Because if they don't do that, that means something wrong with them. That doesn't change the fact that they're going to be destroyed because when the closer they get to spring, the more they're going to lie, the more they're going to try to defend themselves, the more they're going to try to hurt you. And that's righteous conduct. That's righteous conduct. How's that? What's going on here? Mm-mm. So if you are doing that, your body, I'm getting to these Levites out here, who's out there telling lies and stuff to their own body. They're liars. They're hurting their own body. You understand? They're hurting their own body. And they're going to pay for the price for that. Whether they understand that they're part of the body or not, they still hurt their body. This is a lot more to this, but I don't know how much far I'm going to go into this, right? But that's what truth is and falsehood, right? It gets back to self-preservation. First law of nature. If you do things that's against yourself, that's sin. Do things against your body, personal body, or your family, right? When I say, I'm talking about our nation. It's sin. Sin is. It's lies. But what you do to protect it, like they do, they lying. I mean, they misrepresenting everything else. They're trying to survive. They do whatever they can to survive. It's not going to work. But you got to understand what's different between the truth, what this really means, because you got this basic idea of what truth is, what falsehood is, based on a civil Bible idea. And the Holocaust, all that stuff. That's why it's hard to understand about Adam. The angel said, "Well, are you gonna make somebody make me shed blood?" I mean, this it didn't make any sense. Yeah, but you're going to support him and strengthen him, and it's a story. But when you dig in that story, you see all this kind of information here. Mm-hmm. Now, let's look at something else here. All this can come together in mind pressure. I'm trying to put in a way that kind of, without getting ahead of myself here. Okay. Now, you have the mind. I'm going to have to jump right here because, like I said, all this comes together. You have the mind here. Right? So let me go. Well, just the brain, new mind. It's mind, right? That's your mind, it's your brain. That's the same thing. Your mind feeds information to the brain. Brain needs information like your body needs food. Right? So it feeds the information there. Now your brain just calculates like a muscle. All it does is calculate. Right? But that in your brain is built into your DNA, self-preservation. So when it makes calculate, it's going to calculate, right? It's what's the word I'm going to use here? Based on that principle. So when it calculates, it's going to be bad in there. Is this calculation good for me or bad for me? You see? Because it's going to, that's the first law. It's going to calculate information that comes in. Right? So that information comes in, and now you get this information, right? That's instinctive, right? Okay, I got this, but is this going to cause, you sense that it's going to hurt you, and you may keep quiet or you're going to, whatever. But if you got a sense of, right, but you're going to weigh it whether it's calm to you or not. And then that's the way you're going to, remember, you get information in it, then you express it. You're going to express it in a way it's going to protect you. You say, oh man, I got this information, but hey man, okay, my family, my son went out there, man, he went and robbed the bank and everything else, right? And right? They say, man, I ain't going to tell the cops on him. I don't want to hurt my son. See? Self-preservation of your family and you got the information in. How you going to interpret it? You're going to interpret it based on self-preservation. You see? Okay, but it gets more complicated. Okay, so here you go. You get bad information in. Remember, that's your nature. That's embedded in your very nature, self-preservation. So you get information in, but remember, the information you're getting is bad. So you make decisions. You're calculating. You're calculating. Your brain just don't calculate. But the information is bad. You're gonna make bad decisions because that's all information you got. Right now, you grow up, right, and you speak English because that's all the information you got. So that's the language you speak. So you get this information in, and so they gave us bad information. It's like, okay, they told us we was supposed to be slaves and everything else. Well, that's against us. Mm-hmm. Self-preservation tells us that we got to go along with that because they'd kill us if we didn't listen to them. We had no place else to go. Mm-hmm. That self-preservation is still there. It's still locked in. But you make a decision. I can't go anywhere. I better submit to that. Do what Master tell me to do. Them same brothers and sisters are still there. However, there's a caveat there. Because remember, this information those are vectors. And your sense of self-preservation is weak. Those vectors overcome it. what happens is it's reversed. Because now your sense of self-preservation is against yourself and for the people that overcome it. So now you out-preserve the devil, master. You look out for master instead of yourself. Sense of preservation been distorted. It's overcome. Oh boy, this camera stuff. There's information coming in as you've been broken. You was broken, called broken. So you start identifying with your captor. That happened to some of us. When that happens, they lost. Because now you're not demons, but they act like demons because they look out for master. They don't look out for you no more. They're looking for their body. They look for master and master's body. They ain't demons, but they lost. Because with the pressure, the vectors came in was greater. Because remember, your self-preservation is a vector. Since preservation, self-preservation is a vector. And those vectors coming in, information coming in, the pressure, that's the pressure. The information coming in is vectors, it's the pressure of devil's mind. The information coming in is the devil's mind. I keep telling you, all this pressure, this reality, their ideas, this came out of thought. So we was subject to, that's why the angel was taught to think. So we were subject to their thought. Their thought is pressure. And their pressure was greater than ours. And so we was in submission to them, we was under oppression to them because their thought pressure was greater than ours. The sealed Bible was greater than ours. And so your self-preservation is a vector. And if their vector, their pressure, their thought is strong enough to overcome yours, it's reversed. So now your sense of preservation is against, because you see some of these, they'll die saving one of them. They get a life for one of them. Because they're and they don't care about you, they care about them. Oh, their baby's so nice, they don't care about yours. They've been flipped around. And they lost. Can't do it for them. So we got some in that category. But the rest, you still got. But your calculations telling you, I better not do this, I better not do that. See? Because if you take and give the one that been converted, overcome, what's the point of giving an angel mind? First it wouldn't overload, and then it wouldn't do any good anyway. Because you have to have a brain to put on. And the brain's already been turned around. Like giving the devil an angel mind, it's not going to work for him. But if you still got a sense of self-preservation, all you need is to break those vectors that make you decision to go along with this program. Go along because, hey, I need a job, I need to work, I need to put food on the table. See? They got to go along with their mind, this American dream. Information coming in, self-preservation. So you make decisions, right? Information coming in, you won't calculate. Information, remember the information coming in is distorted and everything else. It's coming from their mind. So it's bad information anyway to begin with. But from your perspective, it's bad. From their perspective, it's good because they're self-preservation. But it's coming to you and that you can only make decisions based on information. Oh, Christianity, that's all the information you got. English, that's the only language you got. Then you come in. And then but self-preservation is the bottom line there. And so you can take information in. Okay, now what's the best way to deal with this? Decide on this based on how to protect myself, protect my family, maybe. Just on your level. But that information stopped coming in, right? Then your sense of preservation. I told you, people, they get angry at that, but they get out of their mind. Once that information starts coming in, and good information comes in, what happens? Because that's what happened. That's from it. Stop that bad information coming in. You cut American dream. So what? Then your sense of self-preservation override all the bullshit. And then you can receive the angel mind. You got direction. And that self-preservation, right? That's be driving you. And that self-preservation will destroy them because they're the ones that's trying to interfere with yourself. They're the ones in conflict with your sense of self-preservation. Am I getting over to you? This is going on. I'm trying to go deeper into this. What's truth? What's lies? What's sin? Because now your sense of self-preservation kicks in. I mean, it was there all the time. But the point is they were trying to destroy it. They did destroy it with some of us. But the ones that didn't, once the information is destroyed, American dream, everything else that's put information in that you're making decisions on, I got to get a job. I got to put food on the table. I got to do something. Oh, it's gone. So you don't make decisions based on that anymore. And suddenly, now you're getting in your mind, which feed you good information. And then you make decisions based on that. You know who your enemy is, and you know you got to get rid of your enemy. Because self-preservation tell you they're the ones that's trying to destroy you. Because then you understand that. Because we hear everything they do is destroy us. They can't help it. They have contrary nature. Everything they do is destroy us. Everything. Then you understand that. Now you got a conflict between them and us and them. Because they had you under control, but now you're seemingly great army. Now you got a conflict between two because their sense of self-preservation is just get rid of you. That was their sense of self-preservation that kept you in bondage. The problem was they didn't have enough force to destroy you. They had enough force to destroy a lot of us. Like I said, they turned our minds. Some would turn inside out. But they have enough. They could build enough mental pressure to destroy us. But some of us would, to my demons, would turn all the way around. So we loving them. We love them. We helping them. We do ourselves for them. It was all working against ourselves because we had to work, right? American dream to survive. So preservation in this situation is hellhole. But then once Mercury is gone, the information not going in anymore. Now you make decisions based on the angel. Now it's clear, and now they're the enemy, and everybody that's enemy. Now you self-preservate, you got to get rid of them. Because that's what you want to get rid of anything that's against you. That's the law of self-preservation, first law. Understand, brothers and sisters? So, remember, when you get angel mind, that's the spring mind, if you use that analogy. And that's great in there, so much greater that they couldn't destroy us. Because our brains are more powerful than theirs. But we'll be able to destroy them. Most of them. Some of them, right? We'll get to that in a minute. Well, maybe I should touch on that right now. Remember the heads of servitude. So we have two categories. We have those that we're told to destroy and those we put in servitude. Mm-hmm. We'll do the same thing. Those in servitude, their sense of self-preservation, clipped around like they're ours, and they'll love us more than themselves. They'll sacrifice themselves for us. Because their self is turned around. Because we have so much force. They couldn't get much against us. Some of us. But we have total against them. So the servants I talk about, their dedication, that's why I say they've been total submission, because they will love us more than themselves. Their sense of self-preservation will preserve us, preserve our body. Sacrifice themselves for us. I'm just trying to show the math how it works, brothers and sisters. Because their minds will not be able to maintain their sense of self-preservation, because they're going to override. Our vectors will be so much greater than theirs. Of course, that vector, they have a self-preservation turned around. They've been total submission, we won't have to worry about them. Total submission. Let me just chew on that for a minute, then I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to close, brothers and sisters. I don't know if you understand any of that, brothers and sisters. I don't know if you understand any of that. I'm just showing you the math of it. How this thing works. And most you're not going to understand because most you're not serious. You're not say 100%, you ain't giving 100%, you ain't giving 10%, you ain't giving anything. You're only hurting yourself. I'm trying to explain to you how camera boy, oof. The math about what's happening, like Master Muhammad said, you will not return to have thorough knowledge of self. So when you understand mathematics, you understand what sin is, what lies are. The devil's going to fight you tooth and nail to try to stay alive. He ain't lying. He's following the sense. If he wasn't doing that, then he would be a liar. He didn't fight us. What do you think he's going to lay down? No, he's going to fight you tooth and nail to the last drop. That's why it says, time of unprecedented trouble. He's going to fight to the last drop. Only reason we survived trip Holocaust is sense of self-preservation. We knew submission was the key. We fight them back, they won't kill us. See, I ain't never explained that one to you before either. See? You made the calculation, he says, oh, I go along with this. I ain't got no place to go. You got, when I told constrained pressure, controlled pressure, no place to go. Obey him. Submit to Massa. That's the calculation. That's where I survive. Eat these chitlins, whatever. So you wasn't sinning. You wasn't sinful. That's another way of looking at it. You wasn't sinful. You was righteous. You was in submission. That's the way to survive the Holocaust. See, all this stuff just comes from a different perspective. That's all this Bible says. The same thing. Accuse our brother and cast down because you're sinful and everything else. No. We respond to the mind they gave us, to the vectors of that mind. We cannot calculate a calculation, and the bottom line of the calculation was, okay, that's the situation. With my sense of preservation tell me, submit, to stay alive. And the sisters, same thing. It says, they might even like the brother. Let me get with this brother, man, because we got to save our nation. Put your seed in me, brother. Oh yeah, it's straightforward like that. I don't care about it. Wasn't in love and all that kind of stuff. Put your seed in me, brother. Because I'm sure we're gonna get them back. We're gonna get them back. We gotta have our seed to survive. Remember, you're one body. So the body works together. It says, oh, brother, put your seed in me. Because you couldn't be in love with each other because you couldn't even talk to each other. It wasn't about love. It's about survival. That's why these sisters, they saved our nation. Put your seed in me, brother. Because Master you're going to put your seed in me, and then we're going to have nothing. Even they understood that was Master's seed, that was Master's children, that wasn't ours. They understood, even back then. Now you don't. Now we're just brain dead. Put your seed in me, brother. These sisters was the warriors that saved our nation, and I'm not going to forget it. See? Put your seed in me, brother. Man, I didn't even know the brother. He just came on the planet. Put your seed in me. I stayed looking. What he does. Self-preservation. They was looking out for themselves, also for our nation. That wasn't a lie. That wasn't adultery. That wasn't fornication. That was self-preservation. Even when he says, they're out here, maybe they fornicating and everything else. Well, if they're not aborting our children, they're aborting our children. That's not self-preservation, is it? But they're out there sleeping around, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's the situation we're in. But they getting pregnant, having babies, I ain't got no problem with that. If the brother and sister, self-preservation. They're going out there getting aborted, that's a whole other story altogether. They're saving our nation. You got to start thinking these things through. You're not whores. That situation we're in. They're saving our nation. That's why they get the whole idea about Jesus. If you go there and say, well, based on that story, Mary was a whore. She was with somebody other than her husband. That's why they accused Jesus. Said, you're a child of fornication. Yeah, there's some information. All these little stories, they're there for a reason. Boy, this camera stuff. People are not sinful. They're righteous. Try to save this nation any way they can. The other day, somebody tried to deceive me. Well, that's a liar. They tried to give somebody bad information, trying to deceive them, try to play them or get over it. That's a liar. Because he's speaking, he's hurting, he's giving bad information knowingly to his own body, if he's part of the body. That's a liar. So if you do it unintentionally, you're not a liar. Because you got bad information, and so you act on bad information. And we did a lot of things unintentionally. Bad information. See? That's what the demon's so confusing right now, because you might be, that's why it's so dangerous to have to get rid of these demons, because you think they're part of your body. So you be helping them unintentionally. So it's not a sin because you do it unintentionally. But when you have a fire con, that's intentionally. Unintentionally. So let's talk another thing. Now let's get back to my story. The Quran talks about, it says, your actions cling to your neck. So when you go out and do stuff intentionally, there's a consequence to that. Because remember, here you got your brain, you make a calculation, right? And you do intentionally, you sin. Because now you're going against yourself intentionally. How does that affect you when you go against yourself? Like, how does it? That's a consequence. It's sin. Or you going against your body. You intentionally deceiving and lying to your body. How does it affect you? Right? Because the consequence is, right? Because you're working against your body. What happens is you start corrupting this. Because your brain, remember, your brain, you are, the fundamental principle is self-preservation. So what happens? Yeah, you intentionally do something that's against self-preservation. You start corrupting that vector of self-preservation there. Because it confuses it. Well, I mean, it's wrong, but I'm doing it anyway. So it must be acceptable. And you start corrupting it. So you start accepting that kind of behavior on and on until, like, you lying to yourself and lying to your body. So all of a sudden, it's acceptable. You're corrupting this. That's all you do, because your self-preservation doesn't kick in because you retrained your self-preservation, right? That is self-preservation. You're telling it when you hurting yourself intentionally and you hurting your body, that is self-preservation. It's like giving you cancer. So now that's what you're doing. And you may not recover from that either. And that's what I was doing when I didn't know I was doing it. Because when I told myself, I'm going to do what's right no matter what, and I was always protective of black folks. That's why, even in the military, I always kept getting, I couldn't understand why the brothers was devil, that kind of stuff. I didn't know they was devils at the time, right? And I give one example, I was in Germany, a place called Vilflicken, a mountain on top of a mountain, way out there somewhere. A little town that wasn't no bigger than little amusement park. And at nighttime, we would go down there, downtown, right? And if you could walk there, actually, it wasn't no big. It's small. Right? Maybe a football field. Maybe that's maybe too big. Small. A couple of bars, everything. A couple of females down there. And it was so bad, they had one female down there. She had to be about, devils, they get old early. But she had to be in her 60s or whatever. She had guards around her legs. No people used to fight over her. Because, there's only two or three, wasn't other women around. I wasn't one of them. But remember, when I came over to Germany, I came over just before the riots and everything broke out. So I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. I didn't know anything about Martin Luther King, Malcolm, none of that stuff. I went to the army in March '66. I was over in Germany by probably about September, so because you go to boot camp and then they send me over there, right? So I was always pro-black people. I don't. Must have been something about it anyway. I was. And I was always skeptical of these devils. I didn't know there was devils then. I just didn't like them. And I knew about history, not that much. And so, and the brothers over there, it was almost both from the South. They were scared of white folks. I couldn't understand it. And a lot of them would want to fight me because I was always fighting with white people, and it's like they got mad at me because I'll tell you when I turned around, because I was fighting white people. So anyway, I'm over here about a year, I guess. Some of these brothers, some new brothers come in. They come with dashiki. I never saw a dashiki before, right? Fro. I ain't seen that either. And they talk about Power. I said, wow, man, this turned me on. I said, wow, man, these brothers, right? Because that's where I was. I wasn't doing that, but I mean, mentally, like Power. Oh man, I was inspired. Where you getting that from, right? I was, it was like a vision. So at the time, I'm still 17, right? I went when I was 17. So just before they came in, right? Because it's a long story, I don't want to go into it, but those charges kept putting me on anyway. Bottom line is, this captain told me to go to Soldiers of the Month. Go up. I didn't know they were Soldiers of the Month because they kept that to the white folks, right? Tell me to apply for it because they were trying to say I was stupid, I didn't know anything, and so forth, so on. It turns out I was smarter than anybody else. They didn't want nobody to know it. That's a long story. So I went, applied for it, and I won. I won Soldier of the Month for the company level. Then I went to all the white boys, everything. I mean, Soldier of the Month be like, like you go to the store to say, Employee of the Month. I'm the best soldier. And I was a sharp soldier. I didn't have a rank. Because they try to keep me having a rank. And that's a long story. So bottom line is that I was supposed to go to division. See, first company level, then the battalion level, then division. The division takes you out of the city to other cities. And so the night before I was supposed to go up do that, I went downtown and there a fight broke out. And these brothers, wow, they was kicking some white folks' butt. Wow, right? I didn't get into it. I was watching. I was amazed. But he wasn't afraid of white people, right? And so the next day, right, the battalion commander called me in. Said, "You was downtown last night?" Yeah. You know what? He tried to get me to tell who was doing what. I wasn't going to do that. Because I guess they figured that's what people do. I wasn't going to do it. I guess what black folks do. I wasn't going to do it. I said, "Oh no, I ain't see anything." He got mad. I could see him turn red because I was down there. I should have known because the place wasn't that big. I ain't see anything. I ain't see anything. So he told me to get out of his office, and that was into my soul enough. He told me I couldn't go to division, all that stuff. Right? See what I'm saying? I wasn't going to do that. I don't care what was going on. I wasn't going to do it. So I'm saying that the idea I had. So like I said, if I made a decision, no matter what the consequence was, that's I was. And so having that idea, right, got me to find Elijah, kept my mind clean and pure. Say, "Oh, well, you were smoking reefer out there." Well, I wasn't. I was in Vietnam. I smoked enough reefer, right, to fill up the Empire State Building. I'm exaggerating, but I was into it, right? Again, right? At that point, I was stupid, naive. I didn't know anything was wrong with it. I just felt good. I wasn't hurting myself intentionally. I thought I was helping myself because I felt so good doing it. I ain't felt like that, man. I had no parents, nobody else, right? And I got out of Vietnam. Everybody was doing it, and I did it, and it felt good. And I said, "This guy," I couldn't see anything wrong with it. Okay? So my sense of self-preservation wasn't destroyed because I wasn't intentionally doing anything against myself. I thought I was doing something for myself. Once I realized, got the information that I stopped it. That's when I went look for Elijah. You understand the difference there? You understand the difference? I never did anything against myself intentionally. Never. No matter what. When I was Demon Island, never, because I didn't want to. Because I didn't want to go and do something I knew it was going to be against myself. I never on Demon Island. They tried to do me, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't. I beat them. Okay? So that mindset allowed me to open the door to Angel. Then you had to get in and try to figure out what's in there. Okay? Because if your brain's corrupted, there's no way you're going to get in there. No way you're going to get in there. If you allow your sense of self-preservation be corrupted by going here and lying to yourself and lying to your body, you're corrupting this. So therefore, you need this to be pure and clean. You better unlock the angel. Get inside. Just getting locked. That's for me. That was almost the easy part. Because once I got in there, damn, woof. So you don't catch me lying and I don't lie to anybody. I lie to my enemies. That's self-preservation. I say I lie to them. I lie to them. That's self-preservation. That's the truth. I'm lying to them, deceiving them. That's truth. Self-preservation. That's how you weigh the truth. Because you better understand. Oh man, he said he saw that Peter steal that. He saw his son steal that car, but he said he didn't. He's a liar. Am I? I'm going to tell my son, then I'd be a liar. Then I'd be a liar. because I go against the first law of preservation. But say they taught you to tell the truth, their truth, because they tell the police the truth. What do they tell you? To hurt yourself, hurt your family. Because who you telling the truth at? You live in the ghetto, so you got to tell them. Did you see what happened? You better tell us. In your family, in your body. You say, well, I got to tell the truth. And you got people say, I got to tell the truth. No, you telling a goddamn lie because you hurting your, and they're the enemy. You tell them that too. You understand? I'm trying to get you to understand, bro. Says your way of thinking is totally wrong. That's the sheer Bible stuff. Start thinking mathematically. Let me move on, bro. I go a lot more than that, but if you ain't got that much, you don't get the rest either. So let's go on to here. Look at this. Check my sound again. I didn't hurt myself intentionally. I ain't telling please a goddamn thing. Truth is, I don't tell you nothing. You're the enemy. Should not go tell. I mean, there's some people I see things. I said, man, I ain't gonna. I got mad at a couple of people. Stuff they did, right? But I wasn't gonna go tell them. That was on them. That's a different thing when you're talking about within the body. If somebody within the body doing something wrong, you better tell the rest of the body. The body, we got a cancer in here. That's a whole different situation. You got to tell the rest of it. I don't care if your son, daughter, whatever. If they doing something that's hurting the body, and you don't tell the rest of the body, then you're fueling the cancer. You're feeding the cancer. Because we're all one body. We're all brothers and sisters, uncles. We're all together. Okay, see here. Now, he is the angel because he's the one that's broadcasting. This wavelength is more powerful than theirs. So it's blowing theirs away. And that's the wavelength, the frequency, and the amplitude that you need to be on to get it hereafter. That's the angel. No ifs, ands, or much about it. If you ain't got it, I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Because he had to become the angel to do that. He's constantly broadcasting, putting this out there. It's caused the world to change. And that's the frequency. The angel is the frequency, wavelength, and amplitude that you need to be on. It makes it. Well, let me qualify that. That's what you need to be on. If you read that's it. You know, you become gods. That's the frequency of the gods. That's the pressure. Everybody's going to be under that pressure. That's the pressure. It's this higher pressure. High pressure overcomes lower pressure. So everybody's experiencing the same amount of pressure. I keep talking about we all get the same amount of energy, but that's the same thing with the bears and the bees and everything. They all get the same amount. We all get the same amount of energy. See, like ant colony fool you because ant colony, you see that, but no. Ant colony looks like, but they're one body. They're one body. It looks like they're one body. It's just looking. See? It's like us. We're one body, but we're all separate parts. That gives you an idea of that, right? So individual ant is they're all one body. Anyway, you're broadcasting. And this higher pressure, remember, high pressure, it keeps on, and it keeps on pushing lower pressure out, lower pressure until all lower pressure is gone. So this new pressure is coming in. It's all about the mind, right? So that means he got the most powerful mind on the planet because it's displacing everything, blow away everything. This lower pressure. Devil's mind is lower pressure than that. See, before they had greater pressure than us, so we was oppressed by them because their pressure was greater than ours. Now, the angel, unlocking angel, greatest pressure on the planet. Everybody on the planet is going to be under that pressure. Now, how you respond to that pressure, that's a whole different issue. How you respond to that pressure is a whole different issue. That's what I want to get into here. I'm going to try to do the best I can, brown sisters, because like I said, yeah. This is basically the new world looks like, at least for the next 6,000 years. So if your structure, the gods, they're the elect. They're the ones, remember that's why he calls the high priest, because he's the one emitting the pressure. He's the one emitting the pressure. The God controls the pressure. He emits it, he controls it, gives it form. And so he's ruling. Mm-hmm. But like I say, the analytical side of the spatial. So they're on the level of gods. Mm-hmm. Then you got the next down there. Well, I should have been Elijah. It should be not Bo. Got to change that. I'm gonna leave it. So the bottom line is that under pressure depends on like your structure, how you respond to the pressure. If your structure is weak, then you crush under pressure. Suleiman, right? Because only one comes in, it has been his look. So because if the angel is the degree of pressure, that means he's emitting the praise, becomes it, right? And that's the pressure. That's the pressure. That's the new pressure is going to be. Means it's going to be a whole new mindset. Because if this world came out of the pressure of the devils, what kind of mind will come out of the pressure? That high pressure. What kind of technology, whatever? Because it's much higher, much greater than what they have here. Because when the devils came out 5 years ago, their technology was greater than the Sunnis. Much greater. They didn't have any of this stuff. We're going to go way beyond. Okay. So you got the spatial and the analytical. You got the ambidextrous, still part of the gods. You need them. But the question is, will they make it or not? You go to the next level. You know why? And then you notice that next level down there? That's why it says, that's from Muhammad, right? He's going to deliver the elect, lamb and the elect. How many groups you got there? Remember? That's them. They're the gods. With the God. Level of gods. They got the angel. In your mind. That's what you get. Right? Okay. And then what? The Levites, they're left behind. They're left behind. You're left behind with their leaders. If that's the case, it may not be the case. I don't think it's going to be the case, but anyway, just follow the pattern here, right? He was supposed to lead them through, wash their blood, robes of blood of the Lamb, them through tribulation. So they come on the level of gods once they get through tribulation. That's the finished process for them. Because they're silver. Basically, what they're trying to say here, that silver needs a little more pressure than gold does, because they're gold already. And that's why I said they had to purify them as silver, as gold. I think I said that right. Then it says those, right, who everlasting appallment, they make it through too. But the point is, they don't have the angel mind. So they can't withstand the pressure of the angel. They are oppressed. Christ, you get it? They're oppressed. They'll be oppressed forever. Because they couldn't rise up. They didn't get the angel mind. Thieves and liars, all those clowns out there. You know what I'm saying? Demons are gone. That's the level. Because they didn't get the angel mind. So their mind's not strong enough to handle the pressure. So if your structure not strong enough to the pressure is crushing you. You're pressed like we was oppressed in Holocaust. So they can be oppressed under the angel. Like we was oppressed in Holocaust, they will be oppressed under the angel. Because the angel mind, because they still got the still Bible mind, and that's not strong enough to handle under angel pressure. So they'll be oppressed. They'll give to the tyrant. They'll go through what we went through in the Holocaust. We'll be raping all that kind of stuff, but you understand, they'll be oppressed. Like Muhammad said, that'd be forever. And then under them, right? They can survive it because they don't have the extra nature, so it's moved from them. The God nature. Ooh, see, the other ones, they had the God nature, but they didn't ever turn it on. They didn't turn it on, right? The angel, they didn't turn it on. So now they're oppressed. Like they got all the muscle, but he's putting it here. So they never was able to turn on the angel, so therefore they got the attributes, but they never turn it on. Understand? So, and looking around, I think some people in that category don't realize it, because they sure ain't. They're not upgrading the angel. If you don't come through tribulation and your mind is not enough, you're going to be on that level there. Period. That's why I say some everlasting life, some everlasting shame and department. If you ain't on the angel, so you can play games and pretend you know it, pretend you know all that kind of stuff. You can't fake pressure. That's what Trump trying to do, can't fake power. It looks like it. As soon as you hit something, then it is exposed. That's the level you're going to be on. You got people sitting around, oh, it's going to be a flood. Okay, well, let me know when the flood comes, I'll start building an ark. No, that don't work. You got to start building an ark once you find it's going to be a flood coming. And I don't see anybody right now the one's supposed to be leading them right. They're supposed to have the angel. And they got 2 books. See? The lies in a qualifier. It's not full angel. See, because you got 3 categories there. It's still enough. Still enough to make it in, to be in the God class. They're on the 3rd level, though. There's levels of gods, like talking about levels of scientists. We're still in the category to be a God. It's on a lower level. That's why I told you, I said, the elect, they would be in Arabia. Mecca, they'll be theirs. But Jerusalem, which is outside there, that would be that's why I said it'd be seed of David. Jerusalem's called the seed of David. That's where my seat would be. And then below that, see, so this is not something I'm changing, this is something I've been saying all the time. Below that would be what you call Africa. They were on that level. Africa. See? The Arabs have moved out into where you say Iran and all that kind of stuff right now. You know why? Beer. Still levels of godhood. That's for those who upgraded INJIL. They've been in that category. If you don't, you're going to be in that fifth category down there. Not because somebody's pushing you there, because you ain't going to be able to handle it. You're not going to be able to handle this. Like somebody come here and they can't figure out how to run a computer. They can't figure out how to drive. They can't figure out how to, well, what are you going to do with them? Now, I'm not going to sit around and do it for you. I'm not going to push you in a wheelchair. You're homeless or whatever. Because you can't handle it. And you're not going to be able to handle the technology that's coming in on that wavelength, that frequency, and that amplitude. You're not going to be able to do it. Because you operate on a lower one, and that's not good enough. You operate on the same frequency, wavelength, and amplitude of sealed Bible. That means you're going to be oppressed. Because this is crushing you. Oppression is like slow crushing. It's like slow crushing. Because oppression, got you paralyzed down there. And you won't be given a chance to, no, once you deal, that's it. Because nobody's going to talk. How are you going to upgrade? Nobody's going to talk to you. Nobody's going to tell you anything. You're stuck. You blew it, and then you're stuck. So even if your children come out, they were not allowed to be joined other ones because they'd be tattooed, so everybody know, right? That they're on that level. They're not gods. I don't know what you call them, but they won't be allowed to intermingle with the rest. And then you got right. The devils, and I told you. The thing is that these are the ones that survived Armageddon. Why? Because those are the ones that followed the law, the Ten Commandments. So they had enough discipline to protect them in Armageddon. But not enough discipline, right, to be gods. Right? So they're beasts between the animals and the... So they've been told submission to us. Like I said, the vector so strong, they would turn around, so they've been told submission to us. Their sense of preservation would be to preserve us. They do whatever we want. Servants. Perfect servants. They do whatever we want. Because that sense of preservation, we turn around, and their sense, we preserve us. They do protect us in every way possible. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. This is not a game. That's something you say, oh, I like her. No. Like you say, oh, I like that retarded person. Whether you like them or not, they still can't, because they still can't pass the test. Because whether you like them or not, they be pretty or whatever. It don't matter. This is mathematics. Either you come to that level, you sink or swim. You come to that level, or you get drowned. I'm told you, I'm warning everybody. You can play games, and that's where you end up. The reason why Lamb is taken out of here because how you get this information? You wouldn't even get this information if I had to put the work in. You ain't heard anything like this before ever. Nothing close. You tell me it's wrong. Because people pretending they ain't got the engine, don't ask any questions. Yeah, you got a question? No, I ain't got no question. You tell them they can't get it right. They all, they ain't bullshitting nobody but themselves. Because they end up right down here with the tyrant. Because they never upgraded. Because the engine mind, because look at the stuff you hear now. Maybe you think it's all bullshit. But if you know it's not, you never heard this from any place else. It's a whole nother level. It's a totally different way of thinking than you've been told before. So maybe, probably, well, if you're not uploading the INJIL, you probably don't understand what I'm saying anyway. It probably don't make any sense to you. You probably understand what I'm saying anyway. That's it, brothers and sisters. Everything I'm saying is consistent with what I've been saying all the time. It's been more detailed, more specific. All right? So, because that structure there, I don't think it's going to work. I think that if anybody leads the NOI at all, it can be somebody from within it. Because I don't think that structure is going to work at all. I don't see it. See, like I said, if you're lying, you sure don't have the angel. If you're lying to your own body, lying to yourself, you're a liar. Oh, I'm doing this. No. Your heart says, "Oh, I'm pumping." You ain't pumping anything. Now the lungs are not getting any blood. Well, I'm pumping. Well, how come I ain't getting any blood then? That's it. This ambidextrous part right here, it's almost an afterthought because the point is that Dr. Shabazz, he went after the elect, tribe of Shabazz. Levites add themselves on, so we accepted them. That wasn't the original. The original was just elect and spatial and analytical. So, okay, we can bring them in. They'll be ambidextrous. They can communicate between the two. We don't need them. Nobody asked them to join on. So we want to be on. Okay, we accept them. But they seem to have a death wish, and they're more problem than they're worth. See what Elijah did, they turned on him in a heartbeat after all that work he did. They probably seeking and you see them around? And I don't want them around anyway. I'd rather they stay wherever they are. It's a headache. That's why he told Master Robert, man, why you waste time with them? They ain't gonna do anything. If they make it, don't make it. It's not gonna hurt the nation at all. We got the main. But the only way they're going to keep from avoiding this down here, you have to raise their thought, get their new mind on this frequency, angel mind. This frequency, this wavelength, this amplitude. Ain't no half-ass, nothing about this. That's it, and that's it. Period. I'm gonna leave it there, brothers and sisters. Oops. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. See? Make it a little bigger than my clothes, brothers and sisters, so make sure you see this. Close. Every tree that bear fruit, cut down and then cast in fire. Not just cut down. We're needed for. We're needful. And that's why I said, if you do read it carefully, all the things in the wild right now, and if you read Genesis carefully, that's the last 500 years that this takes place. So that's just where we're in right now. And once it's accomplished, then everything's in the wild. The plants are in the wild, forests are in the wild, all that stuff's in the wild. Everybody's in the forest pruning, all that kind of stuff. All right. We can bring it totally in control. That's what now we'll put everything. Now we're going to control and beautify everything. That's why it says the lion will lay down with the lamb and all that kind of stuff, because it'll be totally domesticated. And we're going to use Adam to do that, the servant. Let me close out, brothers and sisters. Okay, I'm going to close out here, brothers and sisters. Oh, well, I might go and show this. Total submission. This sense of self-preservation is going to be for us. Serve us 100%. Give us life if necessary. It won't be necessary, but because the faith will be so strong, to crush the sense, and he's going to turn it like he did to some of us. In total submission. So we'll domesticate him, them, male and female, and they're domesticated animals. He's half beast, half man. These are the gods, male and female. Place she in submission or anything. She's a degree lower. She's beautiful. He's strong. Boy, what awaits for this? What awaits? Ready to use this? What a kingdom! Yeah. Beautiful. Walking side by side, not behind. Beauty and the strength. Two sides of the same coin. What's the mission? Closing out, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.
best give him, male and female, they're domesticated animals. What we don't know and evil, he's strong. What a race for this. What a race. Where to use this. What a kingdom. Beautiful. Walking side by side, not behind. Living in strength. Two sides of the same coin. What's the mission? Praise now, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.